Mr Chairman.
I call the honourable member Chris Farfoy.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair, I think, for allowing me a call. Yes, that's right, that's right. Oh well, numbers are dwindling. Mr Chair, thank you very much for the chance to speak to Part 1 of the State Sector and Public Finance Reform Bill. Mr Chair, every so often John Hayes says something in this House which needs to have some kind of rebuttal, and I was watching him in a very brief contribution he gave to the bill from my office, where he did say that this bill is about better public services, about the objective of that for the government to try and make sure there are much more efficient and effective public services here in New Zealand. But as Mr Goff has pointed out, and there are many examples, and there he's also cited an Ernst & Young report which says that the government has failed in that respect. And Mr Chair, I did want to point out another very apt example of where the government has failed to deliver better public services, which has been highlighted by the Police Association in their latest news magazine, Police News magazine in July. Because this is a government that says it wants better public services, and law and order is certainly one of those places where it trumpets its success. But Mr Chair, in the latest Police News magazine out from the Police Association this week, it shows that what the government is trying to achieve in terms of better public services with our police is failing dismally with the people who are trying to deliver that public service. Because, Mr Chair, a survey of nearly 4,000, just shy of 4,000 members of the Police Association has shown that only 6% of our Police Association members, of 4,000 members, I'll point out again, so 6% of more likely our frontline police officers think there has been improved efficiency or effectiveness or service to the public as part of the government's better public services push within the police. So 6% of our frontline police staff think that this government's restructuring and its push for better public services are doing that the government is doing a good job of that. So 6%. 6 out of 100 police staff think that this government is doing a very bad job of making the services that they offer to the community to make sure that our communities are safer. So in that respect, Mr Hayes' objective, or this government's objective in this State Sector and Public Finance Reform Bill, is an absolute failure. And that is not just in the eyes of the public, but this is in the eyes of the people who are delivering the service, our front-line police officers. There are concerns within the ranks, Mr Chair, in terms of the government's objective of making things much more efficient and effective. Those staff members who were surveyed, they said that staffing shortages, 61% of those people surveyed said staffing shortages were in the top 3 concerns that they have. 61% of those 4,000 people surveyed said that staffing shortages in our communities and within police in our communities is a concern, hardly achieving that goal of better public services, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, 45% of the 4,000 people surveyed in this Police Association survey, Mr Chair, said that resourcing shortages were of one of their top 3 concerns. So hardly this government delivering better public services to our communities. And Mr Chair, this is a very concerning message from our Police Association because we're talking about our public safety here, Mr Chair, something that this government over there is full of rhetoric about, but it's clear from the people who are delivering the services that the government's claim that it is delivering better public services via police is not the actual reality. So full of plenty of rhetoric from that side of the House, but the reality and the message back from those people who are delivering the services is that this government is doing a very bad job of delivering those better public services when it comes to police, because, as I said, Mr Chair, just 6% of those frontline people, those 4,000 frontline people, think that this government is doing a good job and is helping them deliver improved efficiency and effectiveness and a good service to the public. Mr Chair, There are also some we also have some reservations around some redundancy provisions within this bill and I must commend some members of the Finance Select Committee who are on this side of the House who did manage to make some very, very big changes to this bill around the redundancy provisions because we did manage to make some amendments to it at the Select Committee stage. So what we had before we got to the Select Committee stage was that things were awful, Mr Chair.
I call the honourable member, Chris Farford.
And the hard work of the Labor members on the Finance and Expenditure Select Committee managed to make some amendments to make sure things were much better for those within our public sector who were going to face redundancy. And redundancy is a very important word also in terms of the police restructuring. Because last year the government announced that because of the effective budget cuts to the police, that around somewhere between 150 and 170 back office police staff were going to be made redundant. There was very little prospect of them being able to be shifted to different jobs within the police organisation because things were so tight because this government has cut the police budget. And I did just want to point, Mr Chair, to I think it is clause 49 within part 1 where there is a restriction of redundancy payments in certain situations when people might be able to be moved to an alternative position. And I just did want to quickly go through each of these situations where someone could be, not have a redundancy payment offered to them because this alternative position was found. The Select Committee, under I think the insertion of 61A(b), I think it is, said that someone who begins before, on or immediately after the date on which the employer's current employment ends is not open to getting a redundancy. Someone who is in a position with comparable duties and responsibilities to those of the employee's comparable, Ruth Dyson, and responsibilities to those of the employee's previous position probably wouldn't be able to get redundancy. Someone who is in substantially the same general locality or a locality within reasonable commuting distance would not necessarily be able to get this redundancy. And someone who is on terms and conditions of employment that the less favourable would not be able to get a redundancy payment. Mr Chair, I'm wondering right now if those 170 odd people who used to work for the police about a year ago and who no longer work for the police and who no longer work for the police anymore would have quite liked those provisions within their termination agreements that they had with the police. Mr Chair, these changes that are made within this bill do certainly go to the heart of some of the changes that are happening in our police sector at the moment. It's clear from the Police Association survey that the police staff themselves are not happy because of those changes really restricting their ability to be what the government wants them to be, more efficient and more effective. And it's plain to see that they think that the changes and the budget cuts that the government is putting them through are not helping them deliver those better public services that Mr Hayes has pointed out. That is quite sad. And it is also very risky in terms of our public safety because I think everyone in this House would agree that we do want to have, in terms of our police, better public services. But when the government is putting our police force under extreme budget pressure, which is affecting frontline staffing shortages and resourcing shortages, that could have a very damaging or very dangerous effect in our community if our police are not able to respond or prevent crime in which we would like to. So, Mr Chair, if this government were to be true to what Mr Hayes has pointed out, to wanting to be delivering better public services for the safety of all of our communities, maybe it should not act with its intentions to cut our police budget, which is, as I've said, with our police force has really damaged the confidence of our police staff through their ability to do their job and to be properly resourced from their job. And I think subsequently when people will read this, Mr Chair, that they will be upset or concerned that our police force is out there trying to do a job, trying to be effective, and this government has said it is delivering those, but the reality and the rhetoric do not match up. Mr Chair, we are supporting this bill, but we are doing it with reservations, and the reservations, as I pointed out, in the police arena is certainly one where this government should take heed.
Mr Chair. The question is, I call the honourable member Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair.